As a fan of college football, I have to admit, I might have been wrong about it being a slow week for week 2. Y'all let me know. Let's get into it. Hey, it's your girl Autumn, and we are back. We are back for another edition of As a Fan of College Football. So we are going to cover week 2. Before we get started, of course, I have to ask you, please like the video. I'm trying to get my little likes up. Please share the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I am looking for really just people who love college football, just your average fan, nothing too much. You know, I get on here and I definitely express my fandom and I talk about other teams because, you know, I like college football overall. So if you know anybody who is looking to, I don't know, just have some lighthearted viewing when it comes to college football, send them my way. Go ahead, like, go ahead, share, go ahead, subscribe. All right, let's get into it. So, as I said in the opening, I looked at week 2 as a light week. And I think it was just because there were not a lot of top 10 meaty matchups. Like everybody that I looked at that was like top 10, even top 15 were just, you know, playing a team that's not ranked, you know, a team maybe that you've never heard of, or, and that's no shade, you know what I'm saying? Like a D2 team, whatever. I mean, even Ohio State, they played Grambling. Like I wasn't expecting what we got, which is a good thing because it was lit. Like it was definitely lit. So let's get into it. So, you know, first, and if this is your first time here, like just know there are certain teams I like to check up on. Like I have a list of coaches that I like to take a look at, you know, new coaches that started coaching this year and favorite coaches. And then I go into like whatever was buzzworthy. So like the exciting games, the rated in the top 15 AP poll. And then I do a hate watch. And we all know who that's going to consist of. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's take a look at what happened at North Carolina and Charlotte. So again, this was one of the games. I don't think it was televised this time. Last week they televised them, but you know, I said I'm gonna check in on Bill. See what Bill did, and it looks like Bill might have went on ahead and pulled it out. You know what I'm saying? Bill went on ahead. They won their first little game. And, you know, that's cool for them. Like, I'm happy for them. It is what it is. Lopez completed 17. That's the quarterback for the Tar Heels. Sorry. Lopez completed 17 to 25 passes for 155 yards. North Carolina's defense held Charlotte to 271 yards and forced 2 turnovers. And one thing that I just want to point out, did y'all realize, I mean, we knew he was kind of up there, but did y'all realize that Bill Belichick is 73 years old? This man is 73 years old. I think a lot of people, I mean, I guess people clocked his age because, you know, he got the little 20-something girlfriend. What is she, like 25, 26 or something like that? But what stood out for me was the fact that he's 73 and they signed him to a 5-year, $50 million contract. 5 years. He's going to be 78 when that contract is up. Do y'all think he gonna coach that long? I guess probably it depends on the success. My thing with Bill Belichick is he's so bland. Like there's no, and I know people kind of get a kick out of it, like how he's just so nonchalant. It's like he's the guy with no feeling, no nothing. And what I've noticed about him, and I don't know if this is like just within his old age, I guess I kind of say like, yeah, no shade, but it is what it is. He often says stuff like, well, I'm just here to coach. I can't go out there and do the stuff for him. I'm not going to kick. I'm not going to punt. I'm not going to tackle. He says this in every single, the last couple of interviews that I've seen, he said that. So anywho, kudos to the Tar Heels and Coach Belichick. Moving on. So BGSU, Bowling Green State University, went to Cincinnati. I called this game. I knew that BG was not going to win this game, you know, because BGSU CKS You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. That's just how, I got to say that every single time. But they went to Cincinnati because, of course, you guys know I am all for Eddie George, like Eddie George's success, but I hate Bowling Green because I went to Toledo. All right. So just a couple of things. So the Cincinnati quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for another one in their win over Bowling Green, 34-20. Pudge was there. They went on ahead and they took Pudge on down there with them. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. It's something about like that. As much as I love the cat and I love to see the cat, but it's like every cat that I've ever had or been around, they don't like all that noise. Like, it's a whole like. If I took PJ to a damn football game, she would claw my eyes out in my sleep when we got home. So I don't know. Pudge is super cool. Like, he's just the coolest cat ever. Like, for real. So, but they took Pudge down there for the L. I don't know. And another thing that I found out about Bowling Green and Eddie George is Eddie George's son, Eric, plays defensive end for BG. He starts at defensive end for BG, which I had no idea. Like, I had no idea about this, y'all. No, I would have thought that this is something I would have caught early, but I didn't. And also, the son of the athletic director that's at Bowling Green, his name is Ian. The athletic director is Derek Van der Mer, Merwe. I don't know how to say Murray. I don't know. Anywho, Ian, he's a defensive lineman, and he's the son of the athletic director, which again I thought was, I don't know. I mean, I guess Coach Prime did it. I guess a lot of people do it. I know I would see that a lot, like on high school teams, but I never really thought about it for a college team until I saw Coach Prime do it. So whatever. Anyway, they took the L, as it just is what it is. They took the L, and that's that on that for Bowling Green. All right. So speaking of Coach Prime, he basically played the next man up game. So according to him, because they did win this game, by the way, they won 7-31 to, who did they play? To Deleware. So according to Coach Prime, a couple of days before the game, he decided that he was going to rotate all 3 of his quarterbacks. Like, he was going to rotate them and see what they was going to do. And according to those of us, or the, people who watch the game and a lot of things I've been seeing online, Straub, his name is Ryan Straub. He was out there doing what needs to be done. He was out there beasting. He was out there throwing up the shador. He was out there doing all types of things. So it's rumored that he's going to start in week 3. But they came up with the win, I guess. And one thing Coach Prime said in an interview after the game was basically, I guess he's just going to kind of keep his quarterback plans to himself. And we're just all going to be surprised at what happens, I guess. But it is definitely rumored that Straub is going to start for Colorado week 3. So kudos to Coach Prime on that win. All right, moving right along. Now, first of all, why ain't nobody got no picture up here? We need to see these young men's faces. We need to see who these guys are. I don't know. And just FYI, which I'll probably put down here. You guys probably already see it. These screenshots are from ESPN.com. I guess I need to shout them out because I don't want them trying to, take my little YouTube channel that I ain't even making no money for. You know what I'm saying? I work hard for this. So most of my little screenshots are coming from ESPN.com. That's where I'm getting my stat information from. That's where I'm getting all my stuff. Trusted source. Okay. Anywho, so Virginia State at Norfolk State. Can we clap it up for Vic get this first win? You know what I'm saying? Michael Vick. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I be wondering if your wife can fight, but I don't want to be that person. You know what I mean? I'm not that type of a girl. You know what I'm saying? But one can dream. But anywho, Michael Vick and the Norfolk State Spartans, ain't that what they are? Are they Spartans? I think they're Spartans. Got their first win. Congratulations to them. They won 34-31 against Virginia State. Aaron Helfrich kicked a 29-yard field goal in overtime. This is the game that went into overtime. Kicked a 29-yard field goal in overtime to win the game. Oh, is it Otto Kunz? Threw for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns for Norfolk State. Rashawn Matthews Jr. passed for 299 yards and 2 scores for Virginia State, which is crazy when you kind of look at the stats because it's just like, dang, it's like when you look at these, like they sometimes that's when how they say like how stats can kind of lie. Like I mean, the numbers are right, but it doesn't reflect on the scoreboard. This is a perfect game to look at that type of a stat because look at it. They passing yards, they passed more the Trojans did. They only had a couple more rushing yards. I don't know what was going on with either one of their running backs because 66 yards, 63 yards, like I don't really know that. I don't know. Receiving yards, 105 yards and 82 yards. And I guess this is really just their top player. So this is not their whole thing, but still like that 66. I don't know. I guess maybe. So what if they got 63? What did the other ones get? You know what I'm saying? Anywho, I said Rashad Matthews passed for all of that, and then Marquise Smith finished with 105 receiving yards, and Ajanavi Bird 101 yards. So kudos to Michael Vick and the Sparties. Shout out to y'all. Congratulations. Okay. Moving on along. A couple of other games that I just wanted to note that I actually put on my weekly watch list. So if you guys are on Instagram, be sure to follow me there. I'm Autumn the Aries. I have been putting out a watch list of games that I'm paying attention to, and often, I can't say often because it's only week 2, but about to be week 3. But what I've been seeing is I pick up other games that I either watched or heard about that were a little bit more exciting or whatever that I wasn't expecting. So, but this one, Oklahoma State at Oregon, I expected all of this to happen. I expected Oregon to do what they did, which was kind of caused a big deal up in Eugene. So Dante Moore threw for 266 yards with 3 touchdowns. A freshman, Decorian Moore, ran for a touchdown and caught a touchdown pass. 9 players scored for Oregon. Total yards was 631 total yards on offense, which is something to say. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something to do. Oklahoma State starting quarterback House Hingney broke a bone in his foot in the team's opener. So they had to have Zane Flores, who is a third year freshman. How do that work? Made his first career start against Oregon. Flores finished 7-19 for 67 yards and 2 interceptions. So that poor guy got in there and they just ripped the Band-Aid off. Well, I guess he knew he was gonna start if old boy broke that bone last week. So I guess he kind of knew, but man, they got some work to do. Like they got some work to do. They gonna have to figure that out. I don't know what they gonna do about that. But Oregon was ranked number 6. I just kind of knew that this was gonna go down the way that it went down. All right, Ball State at Auburn. Now I was hopeful that Ball State was gonna do something, and they didn't. Basically, so Auburn, they went down to Auburn, and the action was missing the action down at Auburn. So they lost 42-3. Jackson Arnold threw for 251 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jeremiah Cobb ran for 121 yards and 2 scores, and Auburn overwhelmed Ball State. The Tigers finished with 271 yards passing and 224 yards rushing. 9 different players caught passes during Auburn's home opener, and the Cardinals only managed 68 yards of total offense. Again, I kind of knew it was going to go this way, but I was hopeful that the action was going to show some action, and they didn't. So that's that on that about Auburn and Ball State. Moving on to my Rockets. You know what I'm saying? Toledo. Toledo. Okay, I ain't gonna go through the whole song, but my Rockets pulled it off. Come on now, let's clap it up. My Rockets pulled it off. You know what I'm saying? They played Western Kentucky. Toledo outscored Western Kentucky in the first 3 quarters, 45-7, with Western Kentucky scoring their only points in the 4th quarter. So they ended up winning 45-21. Chip Tranium. Why are these names messing me up? I don't know. Chip Tranium rushed for a career high 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. Junior Vanderos. I want to say Vandross real bad, but that's not what it is. It's Vanderos. The third caught 5 passes for 122 yards, 1 touchdown. Kenji Christian, who transferred from North Carolina A&T, added 91 rushing yards on and 15 carries. Toledo had 307 yards on the ground, which is pretty impressive. But I guess that I kind of want to know what it means, what their air game is like what their passing game is like. If you look at these stats up here, you can see that the quarterback passed for 155 yards as opposed to Western Kentucky, who passed for 235 yards. So I'm thinking that there might be a little bit of either they not really trusting him or he might just be kind of a little bit trash. Like, I don't know. Hopefully he'll do better later on in the season. But everything else, they kind of outdid Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers, and I'm not exactly sure what a Hilltopper is. I'm about to Google it. A hilltopper can be a literal person who lives on a hill, someone who lives in the city of Somersworth, New Hampshire, or a student, faculty member, or alumnus of Western Kentucky. But what do it mean? Like, the most common use of hilltoppers refers to students and athletic teams of Western Kentucky because their main campus is located on a hill overlooking Bowling Green. Okay, so that makes sense. It's because their school is on top of a hill and it overlooks Bowling Green, Kentucky. Okay, we figured that out. Great. Everybody knows exactly what a hilltopper is. Anywho, the Hilltoppers were led by Maverick McVore's 235 passing yards and 2 scores, and Mousa Berry's 3 receptions for 110 yards. So, but you know what I'm saying? They lost. If we want to just keep it a buck, they did not win the game. The Hilltoppers, who won the game, was the Toledo Rockets. So kudos to my Rockets. Kudos to Chip. I saw a bunch of social media posts like hyping him up. You know, he had his best game ever. And that's what I like to see from my Rockets. All right. That's what I like to see from my Rockets. All right. Moving on. So I just want to quickly touch on some games that I thought would be a little bit more of a blowout than they were. I'm starting with Austin. Is it Pia? Is it PA? I have brutally messed up all of these names. And it's okay. We're going to get through this. They played number 4 Georgia, and the score was 6-28. Now, I've never even heard of this school. Again, no shade. But I've never heard of them. So I'm wondering why the score came out the way it did. Now, it was a rain delay. Like, it was like an hour and 40-some minute rain delay, so that could have played a part. The field was wet. But clearly their offense didn't play, and when I say there, I'm talking about Georgia, didn't play the way I would have thought that they would have played in comparison to like some of these other teams that we're going to talk about later on in the show. So I don't know, Georgia, what y'all doing, Kirby, what y'all got going on? You know what I'm saying? I would like to know what y'all got going on. I guess we're going to see in the upcoming weeks. The second one was number 3 LSU at Louisiana Tech. They won 23-7. Another team that struggled pretty bad on offense. Again, so listen, when I think about these types of games, I think about the offense doing the most. I'm talking big blowouts. Like, that's, and even though they may have, won by a significant amount, I'm talking like real stupid, embarrassing type of blowouts. And the only reason why, you know what, I'll get into that later. I'll get into the reason why, because it's not meant to, for me, the way that I look at it is not meant to embarrass the other school. There's literally a reason for this. And so it makes me wonder how the number 3 ranked team in the country was held to 23 points from a Louisiana Tech. Do y'all get where I'm going with this? Like, that just it don't make a lot of sense to me. But whatever. Penn State, same thing. Penn State ranked number 2. It was 34-0, which is a blowout. They shut them out, so clearly defense was doing exactly what they were supposed to do. But you expect, am I tripping? Let me know if I'm tripping down in the comments. Am I tripping that I expect more from Penn State? Y'all know how I feel about Penn State too. Y'all know how I feel about them. But I even in feeling that way about them, I expected a lot more from them playing FIU. It did rain there as well. So maybe that has something to do with it. But, excuses are tools of incompetence used to build monuments of nothingness. So that's that on that. All right. Also, the last one, San Jose State at number 7, Texas. Now, Texas had 472 total yards, but why aren't the touchdowns adding up? 38 points. And they allowed 7 points from a San Jose State. Like, I feel like the stats, again, this was one of them games. It's just like the stats were there, but you really would have thought that they would have really run it up. But Manning played a better game. Everybody is back singing his praises because they played against San Jose State. He had 295 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. And one thing that one reason why this whole thing went on with Texas is they had 12 penalties totaling 115 yards. So that has something to do with it too. Where's the discipline? Where is the discipline? Like, that's insane. 115 yards worth of penalties? 115 yards worth of penalties? That's insane. Like, I don't know what was going on with them. I didn't watch the game. I just picked this stuff up just as a point of conversation. So, again, I expected week 2 to be like a big old fluff. Top teams playing what they call cupcake games, and I expected everybody, and some of these people just didn't do what I thought they were going to do. I don't know, whatever. So, moving right along. Let's talk about 3 games that I wasn't going to cover these games. I had no intentions is the word I was looking for. I had no intentions on covering these games. But baby, when I tell you these games was off the chain, like, what is going on? So first, what was going on at Mississippi State? What was happening there? Okay. What was going on? This man passed for 279 yards on this team. What was happening? I'm not really, it's not really adding up for me. Again, this was one of them games that you would have thought. Now, see, this was a game that I probably would have thought it would have been like, like what Texas did. You know what I'm saying? 38-7 or whatever it was. Like, this is what I would think that, a 23-7. This is what I thought that would be. This type of game would be. Again, I hadn't even planned on covering it, but it was a very exciting, crazy type of a game. Okay. Blake Shapen threw for a 58-yard touchdown pass to Brennan Thompson with 30 seconds left to lift Mississippi State to 24-20. So this was like some last minute situations that was going on. So it was a dogfight, and it's a little surprising because Arizona State supposed to be the deal. This supposed to be one of these teams that's moving up that we looking out for, and it just didn't go down like that. The Bulldogs outgained the Sun Devils 209-95 yards in the first half to build a 17-0 lead. Like, are you being for real right now? Are you being for real right now? Like, what? Arizona State put together a 9-minute, 17-play, 95-yard drive that only led to a field goal. So y'all did all that. Very impressive. Wasted all that time on the clock and got down there and kicked for 3. Like, what was going on? Sam Levitt, I think it's Levitt, was held to just 10 of 22 passing for 82 yards and 2 interceptions. That boy was just throwing them picks, wasn't he? While rushing for 25 yards. One of the interceptions is what led Mississippi to securing the win. So they clearly they had the ball on the last drive. He threw an interception and it was up after that. Like, it was time for them to go on back to Arizona after that. Thompson had 6 catches for 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. Anthony Evans finished with 9 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. So, an upset at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs pulled it off. So, let's see. I don't know. Are they going to be ranked this time around? We're going to say, well, I guess the rankings are already out. I probably should have pulled them up. Maybe I'll still pull them up at the end. All right. So, moving on to the next upset, which was crazy. Insane. Did y'all watch this? Did y'all watch this game? Did y'all watch this game? So South Florida at Florida. They were in, I won't say in Florida because they was going to be in Florida anyway, but they were at the Gators. The Gators were at home. And they lost to a field goal last minute or last seconds. It was literally like just seconds left when South Florida kicked this field goal and shocked the damn world. And put down number 13 Florida, which was crazy. So some people had some questions about some questionable coaching because the coach called 2 pass plays in the last minutes when he needed offense to milk the clock. So he's throwing up pass plays, it's stopping the clock, and when they should have just kept it on the ground. Is basically what they're saying. The Gators gave up a 66-yard touchdown pass, mostly because the defenders were staring at the sidelines. Was this a clown show? What the hell was they doing? Were they staring at maybe they were staring at the sidelines to looking for some direction? I don't know what the hell was going on, but a 65 or a 66-yard touchdown pass on the Gators is crazy from South Florida. Like, that's just insane. And then, yes, let's talk about how Brendan Bett was ejected on the final drive for spitting at one of the players. What is going on? Like, okay, this is what I want people to understand. That is assault. That is assault. What is it? Like, what would make you do that? Now, the only thing that I'm trying to justify it, but no, I'm not trying to justify it, but I'm trying to think in my head, like, what would condone that? Now, maybe if it was like a racial slur or something said, even still, like, just punch him in the face or something. Like, don't, like, spit. It's just, that is so disgusting. That is so disgusting. Like, anywho, they kicked him out. But it was at the end of the game anyway. So what South Florida did right was held the offense, who finished with 355 yards to 3 field goals. This offense had a total of 355 yards. And out of that, they had 3 field goals? Someone right, bro. Someone right. That don't even make no sense. That makes 0 sense. But what's going to be interesting is South Florida plays Miami next for week 3. So I guess we really are going to figure out who the best team is in Florida at this point. Because right now it looks like it's South Florida, which is insane to even say. Florida plays LSU. It's going to be another good game. That's going to be a good one. It's going to be, who y'all think going to win? Like I said, I mean, they really just lost to South Florida. I don't know, y'all. LSU might got that. I don't know. And it makes me just question, like, did Florida beat themselves? Because that's what the coach basically was saying in his interview. Like, we can't go out there and beat ourselves. Or is South Florida just a better team? Like, what y'all think? Everybody was surprised. Everybody was surprised. Again, this was a game that I've had no intentions on covering. Okay. So anywho, let's move on to the next game that I had no intentions covering. And that's how Baylor then went to SMU and upset them. We had 3 upsets in the top 20 out of top 20 teams. 3. That's kind of unheard of. Like, when does that happen? Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson threw 2 of his 4 touchdowns in the final 5.5 minutes of regulation. That boy was on their ass. He said, "Oh, no. We not doing this. Not today. Not today. We going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this ball in the air and we going to make it do what it do." Redshirt freshman Connor Hawkins kicked a game-ending 27-yard field goal in the second overtime. They 2 overtimes, bro. 2 overtime. I was sitting there watching that game like, I know this has got to be a lie. And let me tell y'all something about overtime. I hate overtime. I hate it so much. It just drives my anxiety through the roof. So when because I think they both scored in overtime in that first overtime. I think that's what happened. I think they both scored. And then the second one, SMU had the ball first and they didn't score, and then Baylor got the ball and they scored the field goal. I hate overtime so much. Y'all remember what was that, Georgia Tech? I can't even remember who they was playing. Or was it Georgia? It was somebody down here that had them 8 overtimes last season. Yo, exhausting. Like, I felt so bad for them kids, but hopefully don't nothing like that happen again this season, because that was just insane. But like I was saying, Baylor went in there and was like, this is us. This is our win. They scored 3 touchdowns in the second quarter to tighten things up. Kevin Jennings threw for 296 yards and 3 touchdowns. TJ Harden ran for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns for SMU, but it wasn't enough. Now, again, look at these stats. That boy passed for 440 yards. 400. What was SMU doing? Like, what was their defense doing? Like, they ain't got no defensive backs and nothing back there. They ain't got nobody back there. Wasn't nobody rushing the quarterback or nothing. Like, nothing was going on. It looks like they had one sack. But clearly it wasn't enough. Like, it was a good game though. It was a really good game. And I'm glad that was one that I was able to watch. So, moving right along, let's move on to the hate watch. Because you know what I'm saying? It's always a great time when the Buckeyes win and that team up north loses. It was a great day. It was fantastic. It was like best day ever outside of us winning the national championship without cheating. You know what I'm saying? It was lit. Like, it was cool. Everything was what it was. As much as I wanted them to lose, I didn't know who was going to win this game. And the reason why initially I didn't feel like I knew, because I didn't, even though I saw, I read up on Bryce Underwood last week. I even spoke about him in a video that I did last week, and he was out there doing the do. And if y'all don't know, Bryce Underwood was recruited by Michigan. He was the number 1 high school quarterback in the country, like all of these things, right? And honestly, when it all comes down to it, I want good for the young man. Like, I don't want him to do nothing against us. Like, and honestly, I want to see him lose. But you know what I'm saying? I want him to get his stuff off. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hater, but you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. But I'm gonna talk about what happened in the game, and then I'm gonna tell y'all my thoughts. Okay. So the Oklahoma defense held Michigan to 288 yards, total yards. Is it Matier or Matier? I don't know. I'm messing up everybody's name. I need to look them up next time and see how they say them. Okay, this is my bad. Okay, he passed for 270 yards and ran for 74 yards. Deion Burks caught 7 passes for 101 yards, and Jaron Kanik added 5 catches for 69 yards. Justice Haynes ran for 125 yards on 19 carries, and Bryce Underwood completed 9 of 24 passes for 142 yards, which is pretty trash for who he's supposed to be. Okay, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100 here today, right now. This is supposed to be the number 1 recruit coming in. But let me tell y'all my thoughts. Of course, y'all know I'm an Ohio State fan. Of course, you guys know this. One thing that I love about the Ohio State University, and I probably have said this before, is how we are able to develop players while instilling some discipline in them as well. And I'm not saying like getting physical or anything like that, but think about it. Julian Sand had to sit behind Will Howard. You see what I'm saying? Like all of these players, I can't remember the last time that a quarterback came into Ohio State and started as a freshman. Like, it's just not coming to my mind. And if it happened, it's a rare occasion. And this is not even just at quarterback. This is at running back. This is at pretty much any situation. Yeah, we've been getting, since the transfer portal has been popping, we might have been getting a player or two out of there and, trying to fill in the people that we missed and this, that, and the third. But like a quarterback or even the receivers, like there is something to be said about developing players. Now, one reason why I bring this up is because Bryce was on the sideline and clearly he was pissed. And he was into it with one of his teammates. And I know that these things happen. But what I saw was a young man that is not used to losing. He was pissed off about it. He shouldn't. And y'all know, again, I said last week, even when I was talking about Jeremiah Smith and how he kind of let his emotions get the best of him. And he, you could clearly tell he was frustrated. And I'm that type of person, like, hey, don't show them your face. Like, don't show them your face. So he was on the sideline, he's arguing, he's pissed off at, whatever the other player or whatever. And it's just like, you got to have a little bit of discipline. Like he's going to have to grow up a little bit. He's gonna have to, which is one reason again why I was so frustrated at Jeremiah, because like this ain't you. Like when they played Texas last year, they shut Jeremiah down, but he didn't show any type of frustrations. He knew that. He knew it was gonna happen. So this, or at least he knew that there was gonna be an attempt to. So he was prepared for it, and he should have been prepared for it when we played Texas last week. So but this was just a lot. Like this whole situation was a lot, and I feel like, and maybe Michigan just didn't have the manpower, like, but I feel like he's the type of quarterback that should have come in and sat and studied for a year. Because what's gonna happen? Like, if he don't get his way, he is up the fuck out of there. Like, he gonna hit that transfer portal so fast. Like, he gonna go somewhere where he feel like he can succeed. And we talk about the transfer portal. We talk about Neil. We talk about all of these things. When a lot of these players really are, they feel like they're gonna just hop. Well, some of them do jump for the money. Like, we do know this, but sometimes it's just because they know that where they are at, they're not going to get the play. So you'll see people like Devin Brown, poor Devin Brown, who went to Cal, and they got the other young boy starting over him, who I heard was phenomenal. Like, I watched a couple of his clips. I can't think of his name right now. The Hawaiian guy was out there balling. So Devin still ain't getting no play, which is, the risk that you take, right? But I get it. This young man, he's going to be the type that if they're not winning, he's probably going to be out of there. He's going to want to go and play on a team where he can win. But if he is going to a, Power 5 type of team, if he's going to a team in the ranks of an Ohio State or Alabama, well, not really Alabama right now, but kind of Alabama, because they might be able to use him, you know what I'm saying? Or Georgia or Texas or LSU. If he's trying to go, he's still gonna have to wait that out a little bit, unless they're having big problems in their QB slot. So I don't know. I wish Bryce the best. He's gonna have to figure it out. And actually, Sharon, he's going to have to be the one to help figure it out, even though he can't do that for the next 2 weeks, because he's taking his suspension, and somebody named Bliff or something like that is going to be their head coach. I don't know. That whole situation is stupid and dumb. He got to pick the games that he was going to sit out, and it is what it is, and I hate them. So, but they lost, and that's the upside to all of this. I say all of that to say that Michigan is looking like some hot garbage right now. And it just is what it is. Now, we got plenty of ball game. We got plenty of ball left. We got plenty of weeks left. So, you know what I'm saying? Again, I don't really care until we get to November 29th. And I'm not about to get myself worked up about it right now, but y'all already know how I feel about that whole situation. So, moving along to the last game that I'm going to talk about, which in most cases is always my Buckeyes. So remember earlier when I said this is what we expect and why. So you guys know Ohio State beat Grambling 70-0. Okay. Grambling was paid $1 million to come up and play. They brought their band. They were fantastic. All the people in Columbus were just like, wow. It was cool. The bands got along. It was cool. It was a nice show. And what I can say about Grambling is they didn't stop. They weren't pouting. Like, they still gave it their all. Even got a pick. Even the one guy even got a pick. You know what I'm saying? Like, they played their hearts out. You know, they came in, they knew that the playing field was uneven. And it just is what it is. Like, these types of things happen. But what the biggest thing for me is the reason why I even sat and watched the whole game was because I wanted to see how everybody was going to do. Like, because I knew that Ryan Day and his coaching staff were going to at least play second string, at the very least play second string. And if you don't know by now, well, maybe you don't know, maybe that's why you're here, and I'm going to tell you, Julian saying his first 15 passes was a connect. Okay, his first 15 was a connect. That 16th was the pick. And I was like, damn, because he could have like broke the real record. Like, I guess the record that he did break was like 15 completed passes in the first half. I think that's what the record was. But he could have tied CJ Stroud for the 17 for the whole situation. And he didn't. Maybe maybe week 3. I don't know. But we got to see San air it right on out. We got to see him air it right on out. And it was great to see. It was, I was just like, okay, all right, we might got us one. Okay, we might got us one. You know what I'm saying? He was 18. He attempted 19 passes, connected with 18 of them for 306 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then they had King Host come in, which they swear up and down it was this QB battle, but you know what I'm saying? He did not do bad. He was 6 for 7 for 71 yards and 1 touchdown. And then they even had the third string quarterback come in for a couple of snaps. Tavion St. Clair, he was 0 of 2. So he ain't really do too much. But he got out there, which was great. Then we had all of the people that these quarterbacks connected with. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. They connected with 10 different either receiver or tight ends, because they had like 4 tight ends in at one point in time. Jeremiah Smith got off. Still the best player in the country. You know what I'm saying? Still is. He got off. He got 2 touchdowns. He received 5 balls for 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. The longest one was 87 yards. Carnell Tate was out there beasting, 5 for 69, 1 touchdown. Will Kakmerick, I'm messing up everybody's name. 2 for 55, 1 touchdown. Jelani Thurman, 3 for 44, 1 touchdown. Brandon Ennis, 3 for 29. He didn't score. The rest of these guys didn't score. Mylan Graham got a little taste. Bryson Rogers got a little taste. David Adolph got a little taste. Max Clare, Bennett Christian, all of these receivers were able to get a little something on the field. And again, it was great to see. And this is why these types of games, matter to people who are schools like Ohio State and such. Because again, like our very first game was Tech. We knew that was going to be a dogfight. We knew, we pulled off the win or whatever, but we knew that it was going to be, we weren't going to get to see the variety. And again, Ryan Day basically said they contained Julian Sand because they didn't want to put him under pressure in that first game, which was completely understandable, right? Rushing yards was like, they was doing this. They was really doing the thing. Bo Jackson got out there and was running for his life. You know what I'm saying? 9 carries, 108 yards, 1 touchdown. James Peoples, 8 carries, 59 yards. He didn't score. CJ Donaldson got in 5 carries, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. Isaiah West, 8 carries, 42 yards, 1 touchdown. King Holtz, the quarterback, he ran a little bit, got like 10 yards. Sam Dixon, 3 carries for 9 yards, 1 touchdown. Brandon Ennis, 1 carry, 8 yards. No, he didn't score. And Julian Sand, he ran for negative yards because he didn't get sacked. Did he get sacked? I think he might have got sacked. So, this was one of those games that, yes, they ran it up. Yes, they did it on purpose. It wasn't for the sake of sportsmanship. It was, I'm pretty sure that it was, when they talked before the game, when the two coaches talked before the game, like they all knew what was going to happen and how this was going to happen. The young man that got the interception for Grambling was Cesavian T-Set. Cesavian T-Set. I hope I said your name right. He's the one that got the interception on their side. Again, not a whole lot to talk about for Grambling, but outside of them really coming out there and giving their all and never giving up. And that's something that I can appreciate in a team. So that is my week 2 recap. From what I understand, week 3 gonna have some heat. Week 3 is going to have some heat. And it's going to be another one of those Saturdays where you're not going to want to leave the house. So I will have my watch list up on Instagram. Again, I am Autumn the Aries everywhere. I actually started a TikTok, y'all. I didn't want to, but people were saying, maybe your content will go a little bit further. So I did. If none of these other platforms are your thing, please be sure to follow me on TikTok. I am Autumn the Aries everywhere. I'm going to put my watch list up. I'm going to have, the few predictions that I typically have. And I'm excited about week 3. I don't know about y'all. So let me know in the comments whatever your thoughts are about any of these games. And be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to subscribe. And until you hear me or see me again, peace and go Buckeyes.